At the beginning of the movie, we are introduced to Mona, an average student going about her day, completely unaware that danger is only a few footsteps away. She heads toward the locker room to grab her things, a routine trip she's made 100 times before. But this time, when she pulls open her locker, she's met with something that makes her blood run cold. A snake, coiled and ready to strike. Before she can even process what she's seeing, more snakes appear. Not one, not two, but a whole cluster of them, slithering out from every direction and cutting off her escape. Mona is boxed in, trapped against the wall with nowhere to run. She does the only thing she can do, she screams. Fortunately, her scream doesn't go unheard. We're introduced to Jack, the school's security officer, a man who takes his job seriously and, as we'll soon find out, has the instincts of someone who runs toward danger instead of away from it. Jack bursts through the door, fights off the snakes blocking Mona's path, and pulls her to safety. It's a small victory, but it's about to feel very, very small compared to what's coming next. Once Mona is safe, Jack doesn't waste a second. He knows this isn't a one-off incident. Something is seriously wrong. He reports what happened to his superior, but sensing that time is running out, he makes a bold move. He heads straight for the school's broadcasting room to warn the entire campus himself. Here's where the movie does something clever with its pacing. While Jack is racing against the clock, we cut to the principal, who is in the middle of pitching his school to a group of investors, boasting about how this year's graduation ceremony is going to outshine every other school's. It's an ironic contrast, a man selling a picture-perfect future, while his campus is already crawling with venomous predators. And then Jack's voice cuts through the speakers. Every head in that room turns, and what they see next is the stuff of nightmares. A snake unlike anything they've ever encountered, absolutely colossal in size, standing right there in front of them. There's no time to process it. The creature strikes almost immediately, and the principal, the man who was just moments ago boasting about his school's bright future, becomes its first victim in front of everyone. From this point on, the movie shifts into full survival mode. The giant snake begins snatching people off the ground, throwing them into the air, and devouring them one after another, while smaller snakes flood into the school buildings, turning classrooms into death traps. Students scramble over each other trying to escape, and the panic is absolute. Jack, now sprinting through the chaos with a group of students, spots the giant snake carving a path through the crowd. He makes a split-second decision. He tells Mona to run while he turns back to help others still trapped inside. Mona, to her credit, doesn't just save herself either. She tries to help her friends escape too, but she watches in horror as the massive creature blocks their path and starts picking off the girls one by one. With no other option left, the group is forced to retreat back into the very classrooms they were trying to escape, the monster hot on their trail. Just when it seems like the group might make it to the buses and off campus, Jack realizes something. Mona isn't with them. Without a second thought, he turns around and runs straight back into danger to find her. He eventually finds her hiding inside a building, and relief washes over both of them, until Mona notices something Jack hasn't. The giant snake is right behind him, closing in fast. She tries to warn him, but he's too locked in on getting her out safely to notice the danger creeping up on his own back. It's only at the last possible second that Jack senses something's wrong, turns around and comes face to face with the creature. He barely manages to dodge its attack and takes off running, with the monster in hot pursuit. While fleeing, Jack trips and falls, and for a moment, it looks like it's over for him. But out of nowhere, a senior officer named John shows up just in time, shoving Jack out of harm's way and saving his life. The two men duck into a nearby building, but the snake isn't done. It slams into the structure hard enough to send John flying across the room. Now cornered, the two men have to think fast. That's when Jack spots something useful. A wire strung between two buildings, high above where the monster is waiting below. It's risky. It's borderline insane, but it might be their only way out. They climb onto the wire and begin inching across, directly above the creature. Halfway through, disaster strikes. The wire can't hold their combined weight, the anchor snaps, and Jack's phone tumbles straight down, landing right on the monster and instantly giving away their position. The giant snake lashes out in fury, and though both men narrowly avoid the attack, the wire finally gives out completely, sending them crashing down toward the neighboring building. Miraculously, they walk away without serious injury. Reunited with the rest of the survivors, Mona rushes to Jack and hugs him, relieved he's alive. Jack quickly regains his composure, and lays out the plan. Stay inside, stay together, and wait for the rescue team. He even tells the girls to change into more practical clothing in case they need to move fast again. But hope is short-lived. When Alex, one of the students, finally gets through to emergency services, the news isn't good. Rescue won't arrive for another 5 hours. Panic spreads through the group instantly, and Alex proposes an alternative. Everyone piles into his car and drives off campus themselves. Jack tries to stop them, warning that it's far too risky, but nobody's in the mood to listen to caution anymore. The group races for the parking lot, and pays for it immediately. The giant snake ambushes them, snatching and swallowing one of the students on the spot. Jack screams for everyone to retreat back inside, and the group flees for their lives once again. As they run, Mona spots one of the girls caught in the monster's grip, desperately begging for someone to save her. It's a gut-wrenching moment. Jack has to make the call that it's already too late, and that stopping now would only get more people killed. They're forced to leave her behind, a decision that clearly weighs on everyone, especially Mona. The survivors regroup, but the relief doesn't last. The giant snake is still tracking them. They dash through a hallway crawling with smaller snakes and barricade themselves inside a room, buying just enough time to tie bedsheets together into a makeshift rope and lower themselves out the window one by one. Jack, ever the last one out, gets caught when the monster finally breaks through the door. To save himself, he has no choice but to leap out the window himself. Thankfully, the group below catches him, but there's no time to celebrate because the creature is already coming down after them. The group makes a break for the cafeteria, and for a brief moment, it feels like they might actually get a second to breathe. That's when the emotional weight of everything finally catches up with them. Jack, furious and grieving, confronts Alex for pushing everyone into that reckless dash to the parking lot that got someone killed. Alex, refusing to take responsibility, tries to shift the blame onto Mona instead, accusing her of abandoning her friend. That's the final straw for Mona. She slaps him across the face and warns him, if he ever pulls something like that again, they'll leave him behind too. Before the argument can go any further, the giant snake crashes through the cafeteria window, forcing everyone to scatter and run once more. Eventually, the group stumbles into an old storage room, and the giant snake follows close behind, hunting for its next meal. In a desperate bid to survive, the group hides among the freezing cold storage, and it works. The creature can't detect their body heat in the cold, and eventually moves on. But their relief is cut short when they discover smaller snakes blocking their only way out. Thinking fast, Jack lowers the temperature even further. The girls are shivering uncontrollably, but it forces the smaller snakes into hibernation, clearing a path forward. Just as they think they're in the clear, Mona slips and falls, and within seconds, she's covered in snakes. Jack rushes to pull them off her one by one, successfully saving her, but not without cost. In the process, one of the snakes sinks its fangs into him. The group rushes Jack to what's left of the school's emergency room, laying him on a hospital bed as his condition rapidly deteriorates. With no other option, Mona takes it upon herself to try to draw the venom out of his wound. Jack loses consciousness, and the entire group is left waiting, praying he'll pull through. Outside, the giant snake continues prowling the campus, following the scent of its prey. But inside, there's a glimmer of hope. Jack wakes up. Thanks to Mona's efforts, the venom has been removed, and he's back on his feet. The celebration doesn't last long, though. John breaks the news that 5 hours have already passed, and the rescue team is nowhere in sight. When Alex calls again, the answer is even worse. Help won't arrive until the next morning. Panic sets back in immediately. Jack, refusing to let fear win, proposes a new plan. Survive until morning by making a run for the parking lot and escaping in Alex's car. Everyone starts gathering whatever supplies they can carry. But behind the scenes, something darker is brewing. One of the girls notices Alex sneaking a syringe into his pocket, and her suspicion leads her to confront him privately. She tells him his car only seats 2 people, and offers him a deal for one of those seats. Alex, tempted, agrees. That's when his girlfriend, Macy, walks in on the exchange. Furious, she storms toward them, and Alex bolts to avoid the confrontation. Before the 2 women can clash, Macy spots the giant snake closing in on their location. In a chilling act of self-preservation, she shoves the other girl toward the window, directly into the monster's path. The girl doesn't survive. With the creature now aware of their location again, Macy flees down the corridor, eventually reuniting with the rest of the group, but the monster follows her straight to them. Everyone bolts down the stairs and finally makes it outside, sprinting for a patrol car parked nearby. Jack stays behind to buy the group precious seconds, firing a flare gun at the creature to distract it long enough for John to get the car started. Everyone piles in and speeds off, but the monster isn't far behind, and the car runs out of fuel before they can put real distance between themselves and the beast. Now stranded in the middle of the campus, the group has no choice but to run on foot. Anyone who falls behind becomes an instant target. When they finally reach the parking lot, they get the shock of their lives. Alex's escape car turns out to be a tiny two-door convertible, nowhere near big enough for the whole group. Realizing he's been lied to the entire time, Jack tries to confront Alex, but Alex, desperate to get away, jabs a tranquilizer straight into Jack's leg and makes a run for his car. Before he can escape, though, the giant snake appears directly in his path. In a final horrifying act of cowardice, Alex shoves his own girlfriend Macy toward the monster to save himself. The creature swallows her instantly, and moments later it turns on Alex and devours him too. Meanwhile, the tranquilizer is taking its toll on Jack, his body going numb as the group keeps running. The monster is closing the distance fast, until, out of nowhere, fireworks explode in the night sky, pulling its attention away. It turns out John rigged a drone to launch fireworks as a distraction, buying the group just enough time to escape into a nearby storage area. Inside, Jack begins spiraling with guilt over everyone they've lost. But Mona refuses to let him drown in it. She reminds him that wallowing in guilt won't save anyone else, and that if they don't act, more people will die. Her words reignite something in him. This time, instead of running, Jack decides they're going to fight back. The group raids the warehouse for weapons and fireworks, preparing for one final confrontation. Jack volunteers to be the bait, firing a flare into the sky to lure the monster in, and the moment it takes the trap, the entire group surrounds it, unloading everything they've got. The barrage of fire and explosions sends the creature reeling in pain, but it recovers fast, swinging its massive tail and sending several of the girls flying. Jack rushes to protect Mona, continuously firing fireworks from behind to keep the creature's attention split. When the monster gets back up again, Jack grabs an entire crate of explosives and charges forward, hurling them directly into its mouth. The creature writhes in agony as the rest of the group joins in, unloading everything they have left. It finally collapses, and for a split second, everyone believes it's over, but the monster surges back up, knocking the group aside. Jack throws himself back into the fight, but his attacks only seem to enrage it further, and it tosses everyone away once more. Then, the creature turns its attention to Mona, ready to make her its final target. Without hesitation, Jack throws himself in front of her and plunges a knife deep into its head. The monster shrieks in pain and hurls him aside, but Jack knows brute force alone won't be enough to finish it. So he puts everything into one last, desperate plan, dousing the creature in gasoline, even as it traps him in the process. He shouts at Mona to set it alight, but she freezes, unable to bring herself to burn someone she cares about. In that hesitation, the monster seizes its chance and swallows Jack whole. Something in Mona finally snaps. Through tears, she sets the fireworks ablaze, and the giant snake goes up in flames right in front of everyone, thrashing as the fire consumes it completely. Moments later, it collapses, dead, once and for all. But after everything they've lost, nobody feels like celebrating. The victory feels hollow, until, to everyone's disbelief, Jack crawls out of the monster's remains, alive. Mona sprints to him and pulls him into a hug, overwhelmed with relief. Even more surprising, John has somehow survived the entire ordeal as well. Not long after, sirens finally echo across the campus. The rescue team has arrived, evacuating every remaining survivor. As Mona carefully bandages Jack's wounds, she thanks him for saving her life over and over throughout the night, and the two share a kiss before embracing one final time. And that's where the story ends. But honestly, if you made it this far into the video, you already know this movie deserves way more attention than it's getting. So many of you scroll past videos like this one without even hitting subscribe, and then wonder why you miss out when I cover the next hidden gem before anyone else does. Don't be that person. Hit subscribe right now so you never miss another breakdown like this one. It genuinely helps this channel keep going. And before you close this tab, drop a comment below and tell me, what would you have done differently if you were trapped on that campus? Would you have burned the monster sooner, or trusted Alex with your life? Let me know down below. I read every single comment, and I'll see you in the next one.